Ahoy there, me hearties! This be Captain Silverhook, and you're listening to the Two Old Pirates podcast. Set sail for an open sea of stories, tales, and some really crazy stuff. I expect you to like and subscribe, lest you be walking the plank. Ha ha ha!
Hello and welcome to podcast episode 139 of the Two Old Pirates. Today we'll be dipping into a true crime missing persons case out of a small town just up the road from Rockport and Corpus, a town called Edna, Texas. It'll be the mysterious disappearance of Sherry Indicavich. To give you a little bit of background, Sherry was a long-haul trucker, and from things that the family have said, she was very, very hardworking, and she was a very, very free spirit. So when I hear those things, it sounds like she was probably gone a lot and she was on the road and she probably didn't check in very often. And that's also what they said. They said that there would be long periods of time when Sherry did not check in. So the case begins on January 1st, 2011 in Edna, Texas, in Jackson County. Now, Jackson County has, I think it was about 15,000 people. But they're saying that out of all those 15,000, there's only one reported missing person, and that would be Sherry. So Sherry was there on New Year's Day, 2011, visiting her parents who live in Edna, Texas. And she was there delivering gifts and visiting and just, family things. And since she was a hardworking person who was usually on the road and wasn't home very often, this is a really, really a joyful thing for the family. And the thing is, as she left that day, and she got in her automobile to drive off, she looked back at her family and said, "I'll be right back." But she wouldn't. Now, what we know is, being a long-haul trucker, that takes you all over the country. It's not a check in that day and check out later on that day, like a UPS driver in a local town of, like, say, Corpus Christi or something like that. You're going to be going to Iowa and maybe California and Florida and stuff, so she's gone all the time. So there would be long periods of time that the family just didn't hear from Sherry. Sherry stood at 5'4", 112 pounds. She was 54 the last time that she was seen. She had red hair and blue eyes. So she was a petite, small woman. So with Sherry going long periods of time, it was not unusual for the family not to hear from her. Everybody's different. Every family's different. Some people check in every single day or every single week or every single month. But time would go by. So by the time 2015 hit, her family at Edna started worrying. And they're like, hey, it's been like a long time and Sherry's never checked in with us and we can't get a hold of her. So they filed a missing persons report in Jackson County, Edna, Texas, about where Sherry is. Well, the investigators looked into it and they found out that Sherry last had been tied to a trucking company out of Dubuque, Illinois. And her last official day there was January 2nd, 2012. So if you've been paying attention, the last time she was heard from by her family was January 1st, 2011, and literally a year and 1 day later was the last day her company from Dubuque, Illinois, saw her. She basically quit, walked away, whatever happened. She left the company on January 2nd, 2012, along with a male worker. Now, the male worker and Sherry, there's nothing saying that for sure that they were together, that they were a couple, that they were friends, that they were romantic. It doesn't say anything like that. It just says on the same day that she left the company, this man also happened to leave the company. Could have been a coincidence. They could have been together. We do not know. January 1st, 2026, which is only a couple days from now, will be 15 years to the day, like that Sherry's been gone. No hints, no, just cold case. Just, she's gone. And the thing is, that would be 15 years without reaching out to her family. Not the usual 6 to 8 months or maybe a year and a half. She led a different life. She was a long-haul trucker. She was a free spirit. She might not have checked in very often, like I said. But the thing is, to go 15 years, she would now be 68. Thing is, that's hard to go from your early 50s to your late 60s and have never checked in with any member of your family. The police say that there are possible locations that she might have gone to in the following states: Tennessee, Oklahoma, Illinois, Ohio, here in Texas, Florida, and this is the interesting one. If you've stayed with me this long, this is the interesting one. Arizona. And you might sit there and say, Eric, what's the difference between Arizona and those other states that you mentioned? Well, I did a little investigation myself. I found out that there was a house that was in the name of Sherry, a Sherry, with the same last name, in Litchfield Park, Arizona, and that there was a cell phone number through Verizon attached to that Sherry, because it does say the last time it was registered was in August of 2011, which means right around 8 months after she would have last checked in with her family. So that might be the last thing. Somehow in Arizona something happened, but evidently it shows August of 2011 on Verizon. That cell phone number was working. To pinpoint if that Sherry in Arizona could be the same Sherry from Edna, I did another background check on that phone number, and it showed that in the different locations that Sherry lived, the final one on it showed, are you ready? Edna, Texas. That's getting a little bit too scary. So the Sherry that was at Edna on 2011, who's gone missing, that I found that had a home in Arizona, that had a cell phone number that was last active in 2011, they both happened to have, at one point in time, had an address in Edna, Texas. Take it with that what you will. If anybody has any information, you can call this tip hotline and say, hey, I know where Sherry's been, or I know things about Sherry or something like that. Call that number. Let people know, because everything that I could find online is she is still 100% a missing person. Nothing has ever been found of her. So if you know something and you've seen this, call that number. But yeah, Sherry's been missing almost 15 years now. In a couple days, it'll be 15 years. If you have any information, please reach out. I guess the ultimate question is, if the Sherry in Arizona and the Sherry from Dubuque, Illinois, the long haul trucker, are the same person, if they're the one and the same, what happened to the lady in Arizona? Where does that trail go? And how do we help the family at Edna find out what happened to their loved one? For the Two Old Pirates in episode 139, I'm Eric. I hope that you enjoyed this missing persons episode, and that you will like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And hopefully somebody will see this and call the tip line, and maybe we can find out where Sherry is. To each of you, peace.